Now, how's this for a shopping list? Butter, cream, bacon. Ooh, sound like a heart attack in a trolley?
See, for years what we've been told is to lay off the fat, haven't we? Don't have too much fat. But now there's a group of experts who say what we need to do is exactly the opposite.
Yep, high fat is now high fashion, but will it help the growing rates of obesity and diseases like diabetes? Here's Jill Higgins.
This is my first taste of what these guys call a revolution.
We're going to have to totally turn the way we're thinking about food upside down if we want to be well.
Just some of the lamb fat.
Having lost 50 kilos himself, Chef Craig is completely sold on this new way of eating.
I think the effectiveness is such a hard thing to ignore.
This scientist is convinced. So's this dietitian. They say we need to flip our food pyramid. So first up, ditch the carbs, bread, pasta and...
Sugar's out. It's a problem for us in the society. Let's just get rid of it.
Next, fat. Yes, fat is back.
It keeps your insulin and blood sugar down.
Fat is also a really, really good fuel to use for exercise.
Bring on the fat.
They're cooking up a storm. Fat's always been the bad guy, hasn't it? Making us pile on the pounds and clogging our arteries.
Sounds like a reasonable idea. Just doesn't turn out to be true. That hypothesis led food and what we told people to eat for the last 50 years, and it's a complete disaster.
Because the world's been getting fatter and there's more diabetes, it's a hard nut to crack, but maybe low-carb, high-fat is the way to go. We put it to the test with two yo-yo dieters. Kim, who's a diabetic.
I've been battling with diabetes for the last 36 years and I've lost the sight in my left eye. There's too much variation around my glucose levels.
And Lucas, warned by his doctor his weight problems could prove fatal.
He made it clear that the long-term consequences over time were serious and I could only be looking at another 10 years.
It's not as if these guys haven't tried. Diet after diet, even help from health professionals.
Give you a nutritionist and put you at the gym and you struggle and you suffer and you restrict what you eat, and that worked for a while as well, but then your body says, you know, no, I'm used to pies, I need pies, and then it's sort of, what do, you know? Coconut milk. I mean, who thought I'd be drinking coconut milk? But actually it's quite nice.
With this latest approach, fat gets easily burned as energy.
Of course, the vegetables.
And fewer carbs mean fewer problems with blood sugars.
It's really hard for your blood sugar to get really high when you're not eating it.
Not that it was a piece of cake at first.
You're used to your snacks and I love my beer, but I mean, you've got to be careful of all those things now.
Potatoes. You know, you grow up with those and, you know, nothing like potatoes.
3 months on, Lucas was proud of his Franken smoothie, and I have to say it was pretty good. Did you want some?
Well, actually.
He was even more proud of his diet results.
Since I started this, I've probably lost about 20 kgs, which keeps the doctors happy, and it's not unsustainable. My blood sugars have stabilised now where they were sort of 8 to 15. Now I'm 5, 6.
Over to Kim. The odd bit of toast still sneaks in, but he's made the switch and it's been worth it.
I've lost 5 kgs so far.
And blood glucose?
Dropped from 64 down to 56. That's a big change, yeah.
And for those fitness freaks who are sceptical, there are positives for you too.
Athletes need a good, solid, steady fuel supplier. And especially if you're an endurance athlete, eating a higher fat, lower carbohydrate diet can deliver that.
There's still opposition. Not everyone's cracking open the cream just yet. But if you want to give it a go, the high-fat crusaders say it's easy.
If you just think, eat foods that don't come in packages, the reality is it ends up being lower in carbohydrate and higher in fat anyway.
Food that would rot easily, that your grandmother would recognise, that is what whole food is about.
Ketogenic, hello, Dr. Wetzel is in the house.
Because you were saying, don't you need the carbs because that's what you burn?
Yeah, slow release
But you
energy.
burn the fat. If you've got nothing else to burn, then you start burning the fat.
What I know about fat is you've got your good fats and your bad fats for a start, and the big problem we have in this country is your meats with the fats on it. That's your bad fat.
So what they're talking about is some of that, what we've always believed to be bad fat is actually not bad
I'm struggling
anymore.
with it. What I do know is the common ingredient appears to be sugar. We can all agree that sugar, refined sugar, as opposed to natural sugar, refined sugar.
Well, some people would argue natural sugar not good either.
Gee, I don't like you on a Monday. You just get a little testy.
Little testy. Hey, what I find interesting is that you could go and see two qualified dietitians, for example, and you would get two very different results. Just on that, the New Zealand Diabetes Association, the Ministry of Health, are not on board with that kind of diet.
I'm not surprised.
On the flip side, in the UK, the Diabetes Association is.
Really?
And the US equivalent of the Ministry of Health has been advised to relax its guidelines on fat.
Here's what I know. All the stuff we've tried doesn't work clearly, does it? Because we've never been